It's good to see everyone.
Yeah. Yes, likewise. I can't decide if I'm hot or cold, so I'll probably take off my jacket on and off about 100 times today. So anyway, this week we had the theme of the abs and the gut and all of that. And then next week, the theme coming up was, well, the next two, I thought we could maybe talk about the next 2 weeks, because next week we won't have a session just because it'll be Christmas. And so we won't be doing that on Christmas Day. But the idea is that for this next coming up week is, I called it Powerful You. So the idea that I had in mind was that by the time, hopefully, we've done so much training on Zoom this year, and I really tried to come up with a bunch of themes that targeted different parts of the body, that targeted different ideas like posture or alignment or all the ideas. And so I'm hoping that by this time, they have an understanding of where they're strong and where they're not strong. Like what are their strengths and what are not their strengths. So I thought that this coming week, I would talk about what gives you your strength. Where do you find your strength in your own body, and where do you not have strength in your body? So that they can just do a little more self-exploration about that and really understand what is it that is good and strong in me, and where am I lacking, and where do I need to be kinder to myself, or where do I need to if I'm not as strong in my center, or if seems like I have these really long, heavy legs, then I may not be that person that the legs go down so far. I might be that person that has to stay with a very small motion. And then this week leads into next week, which is this coming week is understanding what is the powerful you, where are you most powerful, and understanding where you're not. And then the next week is honing your practice for you. So it's understanding that, and then being able to direct the exercises to help you in the best way. So that was sort of my intention for the last, enter the new year with this new understanding of your body for 2 weeks from now. And then this week, just understanding where you are powerful. Where do you get your power? How do you have your power? And understanding where you're not as powerful. So that was my idea in a long phrase or three of a description. So I think as far as teaching to that in a group setting is challenging, which is kind of fun, actually, that we have a challenge to explore and to push people towards. I think I haven't really thought it all out exactly what I wanted to do in the classes just yet, but more along the lines of bringing awareness. So today's class, this week was the abs, the gut. And in today's class, I did something that I'm intending to continue, which is I had them lay down and start at the most basic level just for a few seconds, and then take it up level by level by level all through the class, and try and leave people at the level where they were at the right place for themselves. So, for example, I did knees coming in and then moving back to neutral. And then I added a bigger motion going in and then out further, if they could do it all head down. And then I added head up, legs going out and in. And then I added legs going out and up instead of out. Like I just kept layering on. And I did the same thing with single leg stretch, like starting head down, legs up, or one leg going out, legs going a little further down, head down. And comparing that to head up, then legs going lower down, and with that head up component, and just sort of sharing what the differences are between those exercises and all those levels, and trying to tell people stay where it's right for you. And also realizing that head down is sometimes not the easier way, it's sometimes the harder way, and what that means for their body when they have the head down. So that's sort of my intention in finding that powerful you is taking them through sort of a full body exploration in the classes, and just pointing out places and saying, if you can do this with your legs low, you must be quite strong in your core. In sideline, for example, if you can do the butt cruncher series and finish the whole series, you must be pretty good in those hip rotators and hip abductors, versus somebody who's struggling to get through that. So just giving them information as I go through the class as to if they can succeed at this, then they must be stronger here or not as strong here, and maybe this is a good place to focus on for them. So hopefully they're getting a good workout, but they're also leaving with a lot of information about where their body is in terms of strength. Like, can you hold a minute plank? Where do you fatigue in that? What part of you is sagging? What part are you struggling with? Is it your shoulders? Is it your abs? Is it your glutes? Is it your quads? Yeah, are your quads failing? Their knees getting floppy? Where do you find that you're failing as we go through? And then that's probably what you need to work on more, kind of thing. So I don't know, what does that bring up for you? Any ideas or anything that you have?
I'm anxious to go to the class.
Yay! Come to my class. I love that you were in my class last week. That was really, was it last week or was it Tuesday? It was last week, right?
Last week, and I did your Tuesday class yesterday. So I
good.
Like that they're posted right away.
Yeah.
I did the Tuesday one, or the one that was just posted. Yeah, the gut one. That was good.
That was a good one, right?
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They left that after class. They all said, that was hard. I was like, yes, good. I'm glad it was hard. It was supposed to be hard, but hopefully in a good way.
No, that was really good. I guess I just wanted to put in some feedback. Maybe it's just my own issue. I don't know if anyone else has this issue. Maybe it's just a super flexible thing. Anyway, enough talk. I'll get to the point. But I tend to collapse everything when I'm on the roller, like my butt's on the roller. It collapses in the upper cavity. So I really have to remind myself to keep chest broad, keep, the shoulder blades down on the ground, because I can somehow, and I think also I've just been dealing with a lot of neck stuff, which is related to just too much computer stuff. So anyway, that was just a reminder for me. I need to keep, just to keep really broad, but in the chest, to kind of, so I didn't fold in there and go into accessory muscles. Yeah, and I guess, so I kind of backed off a little bit on some of the exercises. I could probably have done them, but I'm like, no, I need to back off because I'm starting to I'm starting to get so into it that I'm not focusing in my belly anymore. I'm going into the neck. So, but yeah, overall it was a great class.
Yeah. I think that a few people are having trouble with that. I try and really, that's a hard position for some people. I think the hips up and really getting the shoulders broad. Sometimes, I don't think I cued in on Tuesday, but sometimes I have people go into kind of this cactusy arm and let this sort of arm position open while they're with the hips on the roller, just to help them, remind them that this has to stay open rather than trying to hold on to the roller. I think it's when your hands are on the roller that the shoulders tend to go forward more. And I realize that even I find that the roller some days really wants to slip out from under my hips, and other days it's not so bad. And I haven't really figured out what that is, except for slippery shirts.
Yeah, I was thinking my slippery pants that because I did it wearing these pants this morning. They're super slippery. I was like, what is going on? Yeah.
Yeah, it may be. Where are your clothing? Where's your line of clothing, Allegra? Weren't you working on that?
I had to move, but yeah, it's not actually. I've been speaking to a designer, and we're gonna start. She's gonna help me with tech stuff in January when I get a little bit more back to earth. I'm a little crazy right now, but yes, thank you.
Yeah, and then we could be sticky down and we don't have to worry about it. We'd have like a yoga mat on our backs and butt.
Totally, yes. Stay tuned.
Yeah, but I think sometimes too that can cause part of the problem, right? If the hips are on the roller and you're sliding one way or the other, that makes you want to hold on, and then this whole thing rolls forward. Whereas if you could keep that width, with one of my clients, I tried everything under the sun with her because she kept complaining of pain at the base of the neck. So I would think about T1, 2, or C7, T1, where she would end up with pressure back there. With whenever she would feel fine while we were doing it, and then afterwards feel like she has pressure there. And we tried everything, and then we tried lowering her hips onto just a wedge, and that somewhat helped, but still didn't until I got her flat again. And so I think it's, for some people, it just is not the right positioning. So you could do all those exercises without the roller there. All that to say too, or try a different
I think maybe I'll do that next time. Because also, I don't know, I have a super, super long legs, short torso. So maybe it's just my legs are just too heavy. Who knows? But I'm going to try it flat in the cactus arms, and that will give me some feedback. So if other people tell me that, I can help them as well. Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Two things. One, what do you think it meant that she wasn't feeling pressure while she was doing it, but she felt it afterward? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, she is a person who has been in two car accidents and then has a family history of stenosis, cervical stenosis. So I think that she also has a very stiff thoracic spine. So my guess is that no matter how much I was cueing it into a little bit of that round thoracic, and I would even have her, I love for myself to kind of hug and pull my shoulder blades sideways and then set them back on the floor. That makes me feel like I have that thoracic shelf or door frame arm feeling. And I even would cue her to do that. And I think she couldn't get round enough to be on the thoracic shelf. She was so stiff in that thoracic spine that even with that, she was still putting pressure right up at the base, right up here, rather than being able to have the pressure across here in the shoulder blade region. So I think that that's what it was. And then I think she probably has some stenosis in her neck, not just from the accidents, but just with age and hereditary disposition. So I think probably that pressure, there was kind of this, maybe an extension moment in the neck or something that was causing discomfort. And she would feel okay while she was doing it because she wasn't thinking about it. But then in the evening is when she would start to feel really uncomfortable and not feel like she could rest her head in a comfortable position, things like that. So I think that it was just pressure, and I think probably she just wasn't in the place where we would ideally want her in with her hips on the roller. Okay. So if you notice that somebody can't get their chest too round or the thoracic spine to round into that position, or the ribs down enough, that might be the person to watch out for.
My other thought was, with hips on roller, I've been kind of playing with the difference between just kind of setting the hips on the roller versus actively reaching into a coccyx curl on top of the roller. I think when I actively reach into the coccyx curl, I get less of that rolling away of the roller. I think. But I'm curious about your thoughts on that, because I've been kind of playing that with that a little bit in my classes, like having people just kind of flop their butts on the roller versus then curling and kind of creating that active reach, which sort of translates into that like lifting and picking up, if you turn that upside down.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Let me show you because I have a lot of thoughts about that because I've been playing with it. I played with it a lot with myself because I was having trouble at one point recently with my hips sliding off the roller when I was teaching and going, what the heck is happening? That was when I thought, is it my slippery shoes or is it slippery shoes, slippery pants, or is it me? So that's a very good point. There are quite a few ways to set the hips on the roller. And so I can set myself on the roller. I'm going to show you my white layer so you can see. If I'm really mobile, right, like you, Genevieve, so I can sit my hips on this roller. I feel really heavy and anchored now, but I'm really arched. So while I don't mind the arch in my back, this is not where I want to be ideally. So coming into a little bit of that coccyx curl here, now I've taken the arch away, but I still have the feet on the ground, so I'm not super round yet. Here, I feel like I've got the roller under me. I don't have to hold it. It's not going anywhere. I can keep that and hold here. So I feel like I'm well grounded on the roller. I feel like now I could ask myself to bring my ribs in. And I feel pretty good. And then I can get this Allegra too. I can get the arms out and just relax them. And I don't feel like I have to clench onto the roller. Here's the interesting thing. If I keep pulling my ribs down, I start to feel like the roller is sliding away from me, even as high as I have it up here. So then I feel like, okay, now I have to either put the roller higher again and then hope that it stays, but it starts to go, or open up again and keep it there. So I think, now granted, again, I'm really mobile, my back really rounds. So a lot of people's backs don't round so much. So I think what I've found to be the best place is I am in a posterior tilt, but not an extreme one in the pelvis. Definitely more than if my legs are down and I'm in the position, I'm feeling like I'm very tucking. When I bring them up, I feel like I'm not very tucking. I'm just kind of letting my weight of my sacrum on. And then I can pull the rib cage in and get that width across the shoulder blades and then be here. So that's where I feel best. If I start doing my leg motions, I sometimes feel like I start to lose the roller. And I've checked on myself. I keep checking on myself, thinking, am I like moving my trunk? And then I think, no, and I keep looking at that. And I don't think I am, maybe a little bit if I go too far, but I think it's more about keeping this in sort of a small tuck, but not a really big tuck. The really big tuck, I start losing and I start sliding that way as I go. If I tuck too much, I'll let myself go. I end up going that way and sort of losing it. So that's what I've been playing with. My thought is posterior tilt, yes. Extreme posterior tilt, not as much. I kind of try and keep some weight through the sacrum on the top of the roller, and that helps me stay. And then I try and work the rib cage downward. But I don't know if that's how you also feel. It's curious. Kim, you're the one I'm most curious about because I think flexibility in the spine wise, you and I might be the most different in the group.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, now you have to get up to
I hate that when someone's like, you're muted. You're like,
I'm right in the middle of something. Yeah. I hadn't really quite figured out why the roller feels like it's going to go away, but I guess this, yeah, definitely more of that, trying to lower the abdominals in here and bringing my knees in definitely makes me feel like the roller is going to slip away. But I'm trying to play more with having my legs over the roller, and that makes me, yeah, in line. So it makes me feel like my sacrum's pretty heavy on the roller, and then still bringing the ribs together. you probably can't see anything, but I mean, you can't see my back change shape much, but I feel secure.
Yeah.
And but it's a good point, because I didn't really put it together why sometimes my clients, especially on Zoom, because I can't see them quite as well, why the rollers start slipping away. And I hadn't put that together, that they're probably doing this some way, shape, or form. But yeah.
Yeah, or that, or sliding. It got much better when I got on the sticky mat. So I have a pretty super sticky yoga mat because I sweat a lot. And it got better on a super sticky mat than on a not a sticky mat. But I still feel like I have to sit the sacrum down. Otherwise I can just curl it away
and then making the sacrum heavy makes it really easy to go into an arch. So yeah, kind of that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yep. And you're right about the mat. I have a mat too, but some of my clients don't at home. They just throw it all out there on the carpet, and that could be part of the problem too. Interesting. I wanted to say that the dead bug thing, I got this, I think, from your either your class or your tip, and it worked really well. That I made my client slow way down, engage the abdominals before they move. Engage the abdominals purposely, slow down before they did the movement, and it really helped. And for me, of course, I've been teaching it for a while, and I'm always telling people, use your engage your abs, but I've never made them slow down and engage the abs first. Each time I made them slow down, engage the abs, then move the legs. Do it again. Yeah, and it really helped. It was like night and day.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add to that something that I've tried, which I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was going on. But the dead bug pose on when my left leg is out, like fine, totally stable, but it was interesting when my right leg went out, I realized that I didn't engage my belly or on that side, or something happened, and I was feeling it all in my hip flexor. And then I really made a point of actively, like mentally, I had to engage, because this side just doesn't want to work, keep my hips even, and all my hip flexor pain was gone. Because usually second one I feel it, and then I made just an active, I really slowed down, had my hips even, like no short, I was getting crazy technical on this, and then it was gone. So I just thought that was an interesting insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so in the class today, I had them do that with predict the load, is to tighten before they let the legs, just prepare to move, to carry the weight of the legs, rather than catch up as as the legs get heavier, then try and tighten, but to know that weight is coming and to prepare and then move the legs out and in. And I think if they can understand what you're asking, it gives them a whole another way. And the other thing that I had them do today, I believe it was today. Here. I had them lie down either with or without squishy ball. You could do it either way, or you could even do it with feet on the roller and stretch out the feet onto the ball. And then try and engage from here. So low belly, dropping down, thinking about it going down and through your body, out the back. So pulling in to the backside, stretching the leg long, and then from here, float that leg up and then back down. So dropping down in here, stretching long through, stretch, and then up and then down. So that it doesn't feel at all hip flexor. It feels ab and stretch from the back to go up, and then drop, lengthen. And then I gave them the option for those who felt really strong in the class to try and find that with both legs coming up. It's a lot harder. And I don't think I get it right each time either. I have to really find that length, and then I can come up a bit, but I'm fighting. I'm really fighting to keep my back really wants to go with my legs. But that's another, that would be a nice advanced way to do it. Yeah. And just to get the feeling, I think it's sometimes nice to get the feeling from the ground rather than always from the top, because it gives you that feeling of how do I actually connect when my foot is down there. Even if you can't do it through the range, it's just nice to feel like, okay, here, I can find that connection here from the ground. I can find that connection from the ground. Yeah. So, and then eventually, maybe they'll get a bigger and bigger range, and they'll know that feeling from top and bottom, which would be nice, really nice.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was taking a walk yesterday, and I mean, just what you were doing, I'm like, well, that's the same thing as just when we're, walking, that leg motion forward, except we're just laying down. And it's like, I'm like, it's just, I don't know. I just had to it's all coming together Pilates moment for a second. So
I've been playing with the sort of thinking about your idea of pulling down through the belly. I've sort of been cueing this the last few weeks of anchoring through your belly button. I don't know if I think that's sort of along the same lines, but yeah, sort of almost as if you had something driving through your belly button to pull you into place. And I try not to say pull your belly button down to the floor. That's not what we because that would be flat back, right?
Yeah.
But sort of anchoring it to your spine. I don't know. I think that's sort of along the same lines. I don't know if it translates quite the same way though.
I think it's along the same lines. Yeah. I wonder, I would love it if we could, I would love it if we could just find a way to actually, do you guys know what I mean when I say come through the back to get the length? Does that work for you? I wish I could take a TheraBand and put it right through my belly button and pull it out the back and then down towards the back of my leg and all the way down. Because if I did that, let's see, if I laid here.
I think you can explain that when you're talking about elephant on the reformer, and that really made sense. This is just a different version.
Yeah, it's a different version of it. If I took this, the missing piece would be having it also around my tummy, through my tummy. That's the part I can't replicate. But the idea is that if I can work from the back, maybe even put this way somehow onto my foot. Right, so if I drop my belly, I can put tension here, which will help make it easier to hold that up because I'm going down here, and I can actually feel that pretty well. I've anchored it underneath my PSIS, and then I'm holding it here, right there. I don't know if you can see it, but so that as I pull both, I can drop my belly and feel like I have a lot of support for this leg, and it's coming from the back now. And then that might be worth doing if you, but that's the idea. Belly down gives me that pressure up, that control up through the back. So it doesn't have to be hip flexor all the time. And I can get this feeling of length. And that same feeling, I think I told you guys that one time, where the other image that I like to use is having the feeling of somebody, you're the air, full of air person, those people that are full of air that are getting blown up, and somebody stands on your tummy and it pushes that leg up, and your legs go up, because there's pressure on the tummy. If you were full of air, that would happen. It's that feeling like the pressure down makes the arms and legs go up.
Hey, Zeina, would you mind just going over that setup again? I was trying to recreate, but I'm like,
Yeah.
have it slack or tight, or we're going hip
Yeah,
bones,
so
under? Okay.
I took it like this.
Okay.
And then the second time was the better setup, I think. So I took it like this in a loop. And then I put these ends, I kind of just rolled on top of them so that my butt is holding them down, and then putting the heel in like that. And then I could pick up the ends with my hand, which are not that long anymore, but just even one end just to have that feeling. Of course, this time it's not working. It worked really well last time. You could probably take it across a little bit underneath so that it stays there. And then, I don't know how I did that, Allegra. Had it really secure
We're
under
in the
there.
data session, so we'll figure it out.
Yes. There. Okay, so now I've got it, but I took the strands the other side of me. The last time I had one that I could actually pull here too. But at least I
Okay.
have.
Okay, so you have it
these.
under you, and then
Yeah.
and then it's coming out this side. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's tight enough that you don't have to do much, but just sit there and hold your leg in it. Is that kind of what you're?
Yeah, I'm not really working a whole lot, but I can bend. So if I bend, I can feel my tummy kind of comes out a little bit more. And if I bend and relax. And then if I want the work of it, if I drop my belly and push that leg, I can feel that connection from belly to the leg extension now. And then I can release, relax, exhale, belly sink, leg extend. And I like if you can get one of the bands kind of behind your leg along your hamstring, or maybe even both a little bit like that. That's where kind of at your hamstring, that's where I start to feel that really connection to the back of the leg. My belly sinks, my leg has a lot of nice control there, and I can feel that connection through.
Now I'm like, I wonder if that could be tried on the like reformer, but I'm like, I wonder which direction I would be facing. But then it's like two pulleys. I don't know.
Let me think. So on the reformer, you could put your foot in the strap. And then what you may not get the feedback. If you put your foot in the straps usually that way, maybe if you, that's why you said you don't know which way you'd be facing.
Yeah. Huh. I'll try it out. I'll try it out when I'm back.
Play with it and see. Yeah. And see if you can figure out.
Yeah, because that's a
What,
interesting feeling.
yeah. What'd you find, Genevieve?
What was that?
What did you find? I was curious.
I don't know. I think my band was a little too short, but
Oh,
I kind of got it. I think. I don't know. It was hard to.
yeah.
But I could see if you could get like the ends in hand. That was what I was struggling with. Where you're, I mean, essentially both your limbs are kind of reaching the same direction, and you've got to against the band, and then you've kind of.
I wonder if we crossed it. So if I did this and then cross it, would that be a way to kind of keep it back there and out? But I'm not getting it. I had it hooked the first time, like right behind. Okay, now I've got it behind and coming out the left side. So now I can pull the left and the leg. Oh, but it slid out.
Okay, so the end of one strap is on your right leg. I mean, under your right butt, you're holding it with your right hand, and the other one, you're holding it with your left hand.
Yeah, and the one with my left hand is the one I'm not able to keep here anymore. But the first time I kept it so nicely.
Oh, you have to look back at the Zoom recording.
I think I might have just had it wedged into the middle. And then, oops. Okay, I have some homework to do. I'll report back and see if we can figure this out.
Sounds good.
Okay, now I've got it, but I'm right. That works. I had to take it across my other side, basically my other leg, both sides, and then I have one side out.
If you used a loop band or you tied a knot in the end and made it a loop, and just put part of it underneath your back and the other part of it around your feet, around your foot, would that sort of give you the same?
Genevieve, can you show what you're talking about?
Yeah. So if we
take this.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
I've got one then. Okay. We take a loop.
Yeah, and you loop around your foot. And then you had the other end. Oh, sorry, I meant like a big O.
Oh, like a big double O.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then sorry, noisy chair. So you wouldn't have the like the holding the end component, but I hope it's might be able to.
But you might be able to put it around the back of your body.
Oh.
And then your heel in. Yeah.
You've got kind of pressure. It's almost
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
use that resistance. Yeah. Pressure into the
Right.
band, pressure into the floor.
Yeah. I like that idea, Genevieve, because now I can also press my back into the band at the same time as straightening that leg. So pressing the belly button towards the band behind me and then allowing the leg to go up. And then you could do both at the same time with that same feeling.
When you guys are done with that, I just was wondering how long your TheraBand is, because mine is really long. So I was just wondering where to tie it.
You know, I almost feel like the tighter, the better.
Okay.
So mine is about the length of my armpit to my wrist when it's doubled.
Oh. Okay. Mine's double that. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I felt like if it had been tighter, I would have even gotten more information back. It was a blue band. I think a stronger band you wouldn't have to have it as tight.
I'm like, what could she call this series? The rubber band? I don't know. Some name for it.
What to say? Keep it clean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I still don't know what to call it I still don't know how to explain it other than those full of air dolls that when you push in the middle, it just goes like, that's how I feel. Because the air goes out of that one area and goes into the arms and legs out. I don't even know what to call those things.
Sometimes I describe it as like if you have a big air mattress and you step on one end and the other side goes up,
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
or like a rubber glove. You like hold the middle, and all the air goes out to the finger.
Fingers.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the idea. Exactly.
I feel ya.
Yeah. We'll just have to tell people they're full of hot air.
Yeah.
That would make them want to come back, right?
This is a really excellent, relaxing way to stretch my hamstrings.
Yes, it is. That too.
It's kind of, yeah. I don't have to do much at all. I don't have to hold it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The tighter it is, the harder it is to
What is that, Genevieve?
massagey.
It's a massagey thing.
Oh, nice.
Is it like the neck version of the Theragun thing?
It's
Yes.
like shiatsu ones, I think. So it like.
Ugh.
does
Okay.
it sort of-
I'll meet you outside. Can I borrow it for a while?
I've been having the neck just like you, Allegra. So this is my work from home setup lately.
Right, totally.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, that's one of the ideas. How did we get on that? We were talking about hips on the roller, and then we got into how to support and how to stabilize. And I think the other idea of, do you guys have an idea of how to help people hone in on what they need to work on? Like, I find it's quite challenging to hold people back to the level where they need to be, because they see it as being held back, not being held to what their body needs. And so maybe we can reframe it as the right exercise for you, not the right level for you. Maybe that would be a better approach. So maybe that's how a good way to start off that topic with people is there are some exercises that are better for some types of bodies than others. And depending on the body proportions and the laws of physics, really, is what's going to make a particular exercise better or worse for a particular body. And can you build strength to get to things that are challenging for your body? Absolutely. But are there better ways to do things for certain bodies? That's also true. And better exercises for certain body types. So maybe that's a great way to approach it.
Like your personal blueprint, because then it like takes it, it's like not you, but like how your body is, or like how your body proportions are, right? Flexibility, taking everything like the perfect blend for your body. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I like that.
I like that. Yeah.
Curated just for you. I'm just thinking of my marketing emails that I've been getting lately. So, but yeah, totally. I think, and it's like, I know that like we, as Pilates teachers, like we can see these things, and it's just, people have like, their egos get involved sometimes. So it's hard to be like, no, just like, this would be great for you,
Yeah. I'm wondering if maybe we can use that to encourage people to find what's right for them or find the right path for them, because it's like always keeping up with the next person. Like, I want to get my leg lower because that's what it looks like in Joe Pilates' picture. This legs are low, and rather than thinking about it also about what their body limitations may be. So I was actually talking to Anna before class, and she said that what we do really well is that we have this population of people who we've created a home for, people who want to get stronger but have other injuries and things like that they need to consider along their path, whereas another Pilates studio may or may not be able to accommodate that body. We have found ways to do that. And so empowering them that, okay, so maybe one of your knees only doesn't bend like mine is right now. Maybe one of your knees only bends to 110 degrees, not to 135. How does that affect your movement, and what's the best movement for you? Is a deep squat past that 135 where you have to shift your leg over to the other side a good idea? Or is it better for you to stay in the right alignment and only bend evenly, as far as you can go evenly? You know, maybe pointing out things like that, that every body has a limitation, and depending on your limitation is going to determine what exercises are the best for you, or what positions are best for you to exercise in. And then if you want to work on getting more range of motion in that knee, then you can do that separately, but not when you're carrying your whole body weight and trying to do something that you're getting a skew on, for example. Knee's an easy example. Spine's a little more challenging kind of example for sure. But that idea of every body has its limitations. And in our group of clients that we see frequently, somebody has stenosis, somebody else had hip replacement, somebody else has a neck injury, someone has osteoporosis. Like, so all those people in one group, and they have different requirements, or their bodies can do different things. So maybe having them understand that speaking to their body is the healthiest thing for them, and the best thing, and the best way for their own forward motion into getting stronger.
Yeah, I wonder if like pointing out some of the common, like how am I phrasing this? Pointing out some of the common mistakes, I guess. So like there's people who are maybe not as strong in their abdominals as they think that they are, and they'll feel, you know, their tabletop position all in their hip flexors or all in their quads or something like that. And so maybe bringing up those things, like if you're feeling this here instead of here, try this instead. So giving them sort of those cues to look for, as opposed to like, if you can't handle this, then, you know, so it's not that level up kind of situation.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, because everyone learns differently. Like me, I'm so visual. Like I have to see someone, but some people learn, you know, auditory, and like I think that's a good example. Because you know, sometimes my classes, I'm like, okay, well, you don't want to do this. Like you want to look at. I guess like I try to give an example of maybe what you don't want to do, but also like if you know, and then I'm like, where are you feeling it? So, but yeah, I think that those are good suggestions too, just to, you know, because everyone learns differently, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in private sessions, I tend to do that a lot. And I ask people, where are you feeling this? Mm-hmm. So where are you feeling this? And maybe because we can't ask every individual in a group setting, especially on Zoom, where are you feeling this? Maybe I think that's a good point, Jen. Maybe we can say, this is where you should be feeling this. But if you're not, don't worry. A lot of people don't, but try this because this is where we want you to feel it instead of feeling it here. If you're feeling like it's your hip flexor, you're feeling like it's your quad, maybe you can try this thing, or maybe you can reposition this way, or maybe you should try making the motion a little bit different in this way, so that you can feel it where we want you to feel it. Maybe being more clear about what we want them to feel rather than just getting through the exercises. And this week I did some of that, just getting through the exercises, because you have to, at some point, they have to be moving, right? But this next little 2-week period is a great, I mean, in my mind, I thought, well, it's good to do that for a week and then good to peel it back again and then give them more again and then peel it back again, so that they're getting this variety of, sometimes we're moving really hard and fast, and sometimes we're thinking about what we're doing more, and sometimes we're, you know, those are great.
Well, and I think you do it in a good way, because on your class that I watched, we were doing arms overhead or something, and you just started doing that, and you started talking about the abs, and you know, so people were moving, and it's like, you know, that while they're doing it too. So I thought that was a good thing. I like that, Zeina.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I try and not just talk to them. I try and make them do while I'm talking, but I find it's really hard. Like today, I was having a hard time because I wanted to cue the motion. I was actually just in the very beginning of class is usually when I do the most describing, because it's the easier exercises that I feel like I'm most comfortable not cueing constantly. But even that, I was trying to get them to understand that you can coccyx curl starting from your belly, right? That can control us. So I told them, okay, keep coccyx curling while I explain. And then I was like, okay, and hold the stomach in more. And then I was trying to explain, but trying to also cue them properly. So there's a balance between imparting that knowledge and knowing that you're cueing the exercises well enough for them. So I find sometimes it's really hard to take time to describe what you want to what you have in your head. I don't know if you guys feel that way. I feel like I have a lot in my head that I want to share, but in counting out the exercises and in trying to get the breathing right and everything else, I can't get to what I want to explain.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's
Sorry, I just was noticing the time, and I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Getting on the roller, because I noticed one of my clients, it's hard for her, we put the roller down and get her. So I have her get on the roller this way, come down, because she finds it too archy on her back to go like this. Do you have any feedback about how to get on the roller correctly?
Yeah, I understand that the plight of lifting the hips high. The reason I don't like this one, I don't really like it when people roll over this way, because they are a lot of times arching their back, putting it into the low back and the kidneys up here and rolling over it. Plus they're rolling downward. And so if they're disky, that could be dangerous. So I tend towards this one, the bridging up, but I know that depending on size of tissues and ability to lift high enough, it could be also quite difficult. So best bet would be to put foot up on something.
Oh, yeah, like a yoga block or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So even just one foot up on the block makes it a lot easier. And then getting in to position, if you wanted to go about it that way, that makes it a lot easier to get up there. Anything, a block or anything. Coming down is usually not the issue because you can just sit and slide it away. So that would be my recommendation. If it's somebody who you're not that worried about their spine, you could, I can roll down onto the roller, keeping my back neutral. So here I'm still neutral, and then I let my legs float before I even get down there. So I'm pretty neutral, there's very little pressure. If you trust that they can do it that way, I think it's pretty safe. I just, in a group class setting, I don't like seeing people throw themselves over, and they tend to be in a hurry to get there in the group class. And so they do funky, weird things in their bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just with a private, and I can totally see in a group class how that can happen, because it's like, all right, I just want to get to the exercise. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Well, always good to see you guys and have a moment to chat.
You all of you too.